The air over Bethpage Black still buzzed with chaos. Even after the last putt dropped, the New York crowd went wild, loud, raw, and untamed. It didn't sound like celebration. It felt like something inside them just exploded. Flags whipped through the wind, chants thundered across the course, and flashes of red, white, and blue lit up the fading September sky. It should have been a glorious win, the kind fans talk about for decades. But under those deafening cheers was a whisper, a dangerous one. Had golf just stepped over a line it could never come back from? The Ryder Cup has always been more than a game. It's golf's pulse, where pride clashes with respect and rivalry turns into war. But in 2025, everything snapped. The cheers got meaner than the applause. The insults cut deeper than the competition. And suddenly golf looked more like a riot than a rivalry. Cups flew through the air, tempers exploded, and even the most seasoned legends just stood there shocked. What was supposed to be a symbol of honor turned into a full-blown circus of chaos. Tom Watson, the man once known as the very face of Ryder Cup pride, said he was ashamed of what he witnessed, and he didn't hide behind PR lines. His public apology for American fans hit like a gut punch. That single word, ashamed, hung heavy like a bruise nobody wanted to press. It made everyone pause and ask, had golf's class been eaten alive by its own obsession? Then came Gary Player, bold, fiery, and furious. The 9-time major champ called it the worst event in the world, not for the golf but for the madness wrapped around it. He said the noise had drowned out the grace, the anger had smothered the art. His words hit deep, slicing through the chaos with cold precision. The Ryder Cup hadn't just been played, it had been exposed. Suddenly, it wasn't about who won or lost anymore. It was about what golf itself had turned into. And if the legends were losing faith, what was left for anyone else to believe in? Headlines exploded, debates raged, fans defended with fire, critics tore it all apart, and golf's perfect image, calm, classy, untouchable, shattered overnight. The 2025 Ryder Cup didn't crown a hero. It uncovered a crisis. And while the noise kept roaring, one man stayed silent. When the storm at Bethpage finally calmed, only one voice was still missing. The voice that once defined the entire era. Tiger Woods didn't stand on the fairways during the 2025 Ryder Cup. He watched the madness unfold from miles away. Cameras caught quiet flashes of him in Jupiter, sitting calm, distant, and thoughtful. A world apart from the roar tearing through Bethpage. It wasn't that Tiger didn't care. He just understood when silence hits harder than any speech. For weeks, his silence was the loudest noise in golf. Everyone started asking the same question. What was Tiger really thinking? Just months before, he'd stunned fans by turning down the U.S. captaincy. PGA Tour insiders said his reason was simple but heavy. His body still wasn't ready, and his schedule was chaos. Between recovery and his non-stop TGL commitments, the legend just didn't have the time, or maybe he knew better than anyone what storm was coming. It might have been a logical move, but fans didn't buy it for a second. To them, Tiger's no wasn't just about scheduling. It felt like a statement. Like the greatest player of the modern era was quietly backing away from the chaos golf had created for itself. Was he protecting his legacy, or throwing shade at the system without saying a single word? Truth is, Tiger's bond with the Ryder Cup has never been easy. Old clips from 1999 started resurfacing, showing him calling the event an exhibition. Back then, people called it cocky, the words of a young champ too obsessed with solo glory. But now, looking back, those words sting with new meaning, like he saw what was coming long before anyone else did. Maybe he wasn't dismissing the cup back then. Maybe he was warning it. Warning what happens when ego, spectacle, and noise drown out respect. The same chaos that swallowed Bethpage felt like Tiger's old prophecy finally coming true. For months he stayed quiet, no post, no press quote, just stone-cold silence. It wasn't avoidance, it was control. Fans couldn't stand it, and theories exploded everywhere. Some swore he was angry, others said he was heartbroken. But those who really know Tiger saw something deeper. Calm precision. He wasn't hiding, he was waiting. Waiting for the world to settle down long enough to actually hear him. And when he finally spoke, his words didn't echo, they cut. That moment when Tiger Woods broke his silence shook golf to its core. It didn't happen under bright lights or wild applause, it happened Tiger's way. Quiet, deliberate, with that calm tone and steady stare that could freeze a storm. No theatrics, no drama, just truth. He didn't speak to defend anyone, he spoke to remind everyone. Golf, he said, has always been about respect for the course, your opponent, and yourself. No anger, no blame, just pure clarity cutting straight through months of chaos. What people heard that day wasn't noise, it was peace. He admitted the tension, the crowd's wild behavior, and the disappointment that stained Bethpage. But Tiger didn't scold or accuse. Instead, he turned the mirror on all of us. The fans, the players, the system itself. We all share responsibility, he said, to keep the game what it's meant to be, pure, proud, and worth respecting. For Tiger, golf had always been sacred. Something honorable. The problem wasn't passion, it was the loss of control. The way impulse had hijacked the game. He called on players, fans, even officials to reclaim golf's dignity. That phrase echoed through locker rooms and newsrooms for weeks. In a world addicted to noise, Tiger was daring everyone to bring back the quiet. He gave props to Luke Donald's calm under pressure, a quiet shout-out to leadership built on composure, not chaos. Without naming names, Tiger made his point clear as daylight. Greatness doesn't scream, it breathes. His tone wasn't sentimental. It was serious, even urgent. He warned that if golf kept trading grace for spectacle, it wouldn't just lose trophies, it'd lose its soul. "You can't build legacy on disrespect," he said quietly, but it hit like thunder. That line wasn't just commentary, it was a creed. Classic Tiger, the philosopher of control stepping up to guard the spirit of the game. In that moment, everything shifted. Fans who'd spent months arguing about Bethpage suddenly found something deeper to hold on to: integrity. Tiger didn't hand the sport excuses or answers, he handed it a mirror. And in that reflection, golf didn't just see its chaos, it saw its chance to rise again. He didn't just speak his mind, he reawakened golf's conscience. His words rolled through the sport like a calm wave strong enough to shape stone. Within days, other legends began to echo his message. The Tiger effect in full motion. They didn't speak to challenge him, they spoke to stand with him. Tom Watson, still shaken by the chaos at Bethpage, called Tiger's words a breath of truth the game desperately needed. For Watson, it felt like redemption, a bridge between shame and accountability. "We can't change the crowd overnight," he said, "but we can change the example we set." It was a rare moment of humility from one of golf's proudest protectors. The old guard wasn't furious anymore, they were ready to rebuild. Even Gary Player, who'd once slammed the event as the worst in the world, changed his tone. After Tiger spoke, he confessed his anger had come from love. Love for a game that used to demand composure, not chaos. "Tiger reminded us what golf really stands for," he said, "and maybe we all needed that reminder." Gary Player's tone, once fiery with frustration, now sounded calm, even hopeful. Tiger's words didn't fuel anger, they brought reflection. And soon, even the loudest critics started to quiet down, moved by his honesty. Then came Jack Nicklaus, the voice of legacy himself, stepping in to back the message. In his Sports Illustrated interview, he praised Tiger's approach with pure respect. "That's what leadership looks like," he said. "Not volume vision." Jack didn't just talk. He offered real solutions: stronger authority for refs, tighter conduct rules for fans and players. The conversation wasn't just shifting, it was evolving into something bigger. What started as pure outrage was slowly turning into reform. The game had finally started listening to itself again. Across interviews, podcasts, and practice screens, a new chorus rose: Watson, Player, and Nicklaus, legends united by calm conviction. And from that unity, a new phrase began to echo everywhere: protect the game. It wasn't a slogan, it was a mission. Golf's icons had transformed frustration into purpose and criticism into leadership. As their words spread, something sacred began to rise again, that quiet pride that once made golf special. Maybe the 2025 Ryder Cup wasn't the sport's fall from grace after all. Maybe it was its wake-up call. The chaos at Bethpage didn't just shake golf, it stripped it down to its truth. But inside that vulnerability, something powerful started to bloom. It wasn't about pointing fingers anymore, it was about owning up together. Tiger Woods' words didn't accuse, they awakened. They reminded everyone, fans, players, and leaders, that golf's true greatness never lived in the noise, it lived in the quiet strength behind every swing. Sometimes the only way to heal a tradition is to crack it open first. In the weeks that followed, a strange calm swept through the sport. You could feel it everywhere. Locker rooms felt lighter, practice ranges quieter, even commentators spoke with more care. Players lingered longer on handshakes, fans cheered softer, and for once golf felt human again. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. The honesty of legends like Woods, Nicklaus, and Watson had turned into the mirror the whole sport needed. That mirror didn't just reflect golf's past, it revealed its future. A future built on humility, not hype. Younger players began quoting Tiger's words in interviews, saying they didn't just grow up watching his swing, they were now learning from his silence. Tournament organizers started rethinking how to handle crowd control, even changing layouts to limit chaos zones near players. Something real was shifting, not through punishment, but through pride. Suddenly, golf wasn't just defending tradition, it was redefining it. The Protect the Game movement became a rallying cry, a reminder that respect could still be revolutionary. The noise hadn't vanished, but it had meaning now, passion with purpose. By late 2025, that quiet revolution had reached every corner of the sport. From country clubs to public ranges, everyone was talking about what Tiger said, not what he did. His message had become bigger than his name. Even sponsors began leaning into it, promoting campaigns around calm, focus, and integrity, a sharp contrast to the chaos that once dominated headlines. Bethpage had started as a battlefield, but its aftermath had turned into something deeper: reflection. The sport was starting to breathe again, and that breath sounded like balance, not bragging. Commentators called it the Tiger Effect 2.0, not about swing mechanics this time, but about mindset. He'd reshaped golf once through dominance, now he was reshaping it through wisdom. Fans didn't just watch tournaments anymore, they listened to them. Every quiet moment, every respectful pause felt heavier, richer, more meaningful, and the players felt it too. Younger pros like Colin Morikawa and Victor Hovland spoke about feeling the weight of golf's spirit again, something they said had been missing in the noise. Tiger had managed to do what no committee, no rule, no fine ever could. He made people care. As the season closed, one thing became clear. Tiger Woods wasn't just part of golf's story, he was its compass. While others fought for trophies, he fought for meaning. Every generation has its turning point, and 2025 became his. Not for another comeback on the course, but for a comeback of the code. The same man who once roared across fairways was now whispering wisdom that echoed louder than any crowd. Golf didn't just need Tiger's swing, it needed his soul. And by staying still when everyone else screamed, he gave the game back its heartbeat. And maybe that's the real story of 2025, not who lifted the trophy, but who lifted the standard. Tiger Woods reminded the world that greatness isn't measured in cheers, but in character. That silence, when used right, can shake the ground louder than noise ever could. Bethpage may always be remembered for its chaos, but history will remember something else too, that from that chaos came clarity. Golf rediscovered its voice through the quiet of one man who didn't need to shout to be heard. Golf finally started seeing itself clearly again. For once, the headlines weren't soaked in controversy or chaos. They were about reflection. The noise was fading, and in its place, respect was quietly making its comeback. The PGA of America even began serious talks. New rules with real authority, stricter crowd codes, and stronger mental health support for players. These weren't punishments, they were promises. Promises to protect what made golf special in the first place, its integrity. Tiger's calm conviction had done something no trophy ever could. It restored belief, not just in the players, but in the soul of the sport itself. Golf wasn't just recovering, it was remembering who it was. And then, in one of those soft, poetic moments only golf could create, the cameras found him. Tiger stood on the practice green at Medalist, the Florida sun dripping gold over the grass. No press, no crowd, no roar. Just him, a wedge, and that familiar focus etched across his face. The swing wasn't full power. It didn't need to be. It was smooth, precise, almost meditative. It was like watching a man rewrite his story, one quiet motion at a time. That clip went viral within hours. Fans flooded the comments. He's back. That swing still sings. Tiger's piece looks powerful. But this time, the excitement wasn't about a comeback chase. It was about presence, about seeing a man who had finally learned to coexist with his legend. That image of Tiger, calm and grounded, said more than any press release could. It wasn't about chasing ghosts or rewriting records anymore. It was about legacy through peace. Every muscle, every breath spoke of control and clarity. The world didn't see the wounded warrior. It saw the master returning to his craft with quiet command. Commentators described it as the most powerful silence in sports. Even rival players reposted the clip, calling it vintage Tiger minus the chaos. In a world obsessed with noise, Tiger had made Serenity go viral. 2025 made one thing crystal clear. Tiger wasn't chasing time anymore. He was teaching it how to remember him. His roar had become rhythm. His power, patience, his lessons lived in every smart decision, every swing of Charlie's club, every fan who learned that respect is louder than rage. Tiger Woods may never dominate the fairways again, but his name will never leave them. The man who once turned golf into gladiator theater now stands as its quiet guardian, watching the next chapter unfold. One story closes, another begins, and somewhere between pain and pride, the legend still lives on. Tiger Woods walked the practice fairway at dusk, bag over his shoulder. No fans, no noise, just the quiet rhythm of his steps and the whisper of wind through the trees. The sun melted behind him, painting everything in gold as the air stood perfectly still. His words lingered in that silence, not as a speech, but as something sacred, almost like a prayer. For Tiger, honesty was never about judgment. It was about protecting the game he loves. And maybe that's exactly how golf finds its way back to grace. Not through victory, but through values. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Golf Swing for more real golf stories. Share this video with your crew. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.